everybody, and welcome to Holy Moses Take a Look, podcast about terrific, horrific books. Books that are the absolute worst of the worst, bottom of the barrel, so bad they're freaking hilarious. Reading them so you don't have to, for the amusement of others, all you good people of the internet. I'm Sheena St. James, and I'm joined today by my lovely assistant, beautiful boyfriend, Paul. Say hi.
Hey kids, what's up?
I don't think they heard you. You gotta speak up.
It's a very powerful microphone.
I guess that's true. It is strong. Like the power of
love and friendship.
Yeah, exactly. So I've got today for you here, the first book we're going to be reading is Irene Iddesleigh. Iddesleigh? Yeah, Iddesleigh, by Amanda McKittrick Rose? Not sure how it's pronounced. It's R-O-S. If anybody knows how to pronounce that, feel free to let me know in the comments. Now, Ms. Roz is widely considered to be one of the worst authors of all time. There was a club in Oxford in like, I want to say like the 30s and 40s or something, early 20th century. J.R.R. Tolkien and C.S. Lewis were in that club, actually. And they would hold contests regularly to see who could read more of Ms. Roz's work without laughing. Like, that's how bad it was. And I'm going to read her whole book. This is her first novel. It was on Project Gutenberg. And I have not taken a look at the actual text yet, so you'll be hearing it at the same time as I'm reading it.
This is a blind read.
Yeah, it's a blind read, so you're in for an adventure. Chapter 1 of Irene Iddesleigh. Sympathize with me indeed. Ah no, cast your sympathy on the chill waves of troubled waters. Fling it on the oases of futurity. Futurity. I don't think that's a word.
Oh, not anymore.
Dash it against the rock of gossip, or better still, allow it to remain within the false and faithless bosom of buried scorn.
This is all one sentence.
Yes, there are so many semicolons.
We're no closer to figuring out what's going on. And I'm like skimming ahead and I'm not seeing a point in sight.
Yeah. Such were a few remarks of Irene as she paced the beach of limited freedom, alone and unprotected. What does that mean?
Limited freedom.
The beach of limited freedom. Sympathy can wound the breast of trodden patience, dash. It hath no rival to ensure the feelings we possess, save that of sorrow.
Well, I think ensure and insure are interchangeable, and bear in mind this book
I don't think so.
How long ago was this book written?
Let me see. Oh, I can't find it. 1897. Yeah, no. Insure and ensure were different words by then.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. Because to insure is like insurance. Like, this car is insured for $10,000. To ensure is to make sure something is going to happen.
Okay, my mistake.
To ensure the feelings we possess, it's like... I don't know what that means.
No.
It doesn't make sense.
It's not helpful in context.
So I guess she's saying, oh, feel sorry for me. No! Don't feel sorry for me! As she paces the beach of limited freedom. Okay. The gloomy mansion stands firmly within the ivy-covered, stoutly built walls of Dunfern. Vast in proportion and magnificent in display, it has been built over 300 years, and its structure stands respectably distant from modern advancement, and in some degrees it could boast of architectural designs rarely, if ever, attempted since its construction.
Oh, see, I'm sad now.
Why?
Well, it started off so strongly, you you establish a location, you establish what it looks like. Gloomy mansion, stoutly built walls, vast in proportion, And then all of a sudden, it's like a sprinter who just tripped over his own foot at the end. in some degrees it could boast of architectural designs, like, again, with run-on sentences and semicolons that don't really need to be there, but then I guess that might be an artifact of the time.
No, not really. This is just bad writing.
Well, yeah.
I mean...
I want to be fair with it. I want to be charitable, but
This is bad.
I can't be.
We're only 3 paragraphs in. This is what I do for you people. The entrance to this beautiful home of Sir Hugh Dunfern, the present owner, is planned on most antique principles. Nothing save an enormous iron gate meets the gaze of the visitor, who at first is inclined to think that all public rumors relative to its magnificence are only the utterances of the boastful and idle, nor until within its winding paths of finest pebble... No shitty pebble for us, no sir, only the finest pebble for Sir Hugh Dunfern. You great unwashed you. Studded here and there with huge stones of unpolished granite, could the mind for a moment conceive or entertain the faintest idea of its quaint grandeur?
Well,
what? Quaint grandeur? That's an oxymoron.
He's right there. I'm having a hard time imagining it at all, but I think that's more to the poor sentence construction.
It doesn't make sense. Finest pebble.
It's like some incredibly adventurous use of figurative language, but not...
It's so clumsy. Beautiful, however, as Dunfern Mansion may seem to the anxious eye of the beholder, yet it is not altogether free from mystery. As Dunfern Mansion. Okay, so that was not actually a mistake on her part. That was my mistake. Beautiful, however, as Dunfern Mansion may seem to the... Wait. No, that is a mistake. Beautiful as it may seem, yet it is altogether... What? That's like a 4th grader mistake. What? I'm gonna read that again.
Confirmed.
Beautiful, however, as Dunfern Mansion may seem to the anxious eye of the beholder, yet it is altogether free from mystery.
Yet it is not altogether free.
Not altogether free from mystery.
What?
That doesn't even...
That's a whole sentence. This is a whole sentence from a published book. Yes, you too can be a published author.
How did she get published?
Money, probably. Well, I don't know. Did she have money?
I don't know. I don't remember. Okay. Whilst many of its rooms with walls of crystal... Excuse me, You can't build walls out of crystal. It's so brittle. You bump into it, it'll shatter. Are gorgeously and profusely furnished. Others are locked incessantly against the foot of the cautious intruder, having in them only a few traditional relics of no material consequence whatever, or even interest to any outside the ancestral line of its occupants. That is the most useless thing I've ever read.
Then why are we reading about them? Why are we being told about it?
It's like, no one knows about them, but nobody cares. No one need care.
So why
except for Dunfern. Walls of crystal. Oh my god. Like, imagine, like, he invites a soprano over or something, you know, and then she goes sharp on the wrong note, and just the walls come crashing down all around that. You fucking goblet.
I'd enjoy that.
Holy shit. That would be so much more interesting than what's happening. Nothing's happening! Nothing has happened except for Irene pacing the beach.
Wow.
Okay. Alright. What?
I'm not even sure she paced the beach.
No,
I mean, it feels like that whole first couple of paragraphs is so wrapped up in figurative language. It's difficult to tell if it's, a real thing that is happening or not.
This is like the purplest prose ever.
Yeah.
It's like the Grimace.
See, and
Okay. It has often been the chief subject of comment amongst the few distinguished visitors welcomed within its spacious apartments, why seemingly the finest rooms the mansion owned were always shut against the eager and scrutinizing gaze, or why, when referred to by any of them, the matter was always treated with silence. Didn't she just say that no one cared? See, it says of no interest to any outside... No one cared, but it was always something people talked about. Which is it? What is the truth? All that can now be done is merely to allow the thought to dwindle into bleak oblivion until aroused to that standard of disclosure which defies hindrance.
Wait, let's break that down. It's
So-
until aroused to that standard of disclosure which defies hindrance.
So just don't think about it. Within the venerable walls surrounding this erection of amazement...
Oh.
I'm sorry, I'm a child.
This is...
Amazement and wonder may be seen species of trees rarely if ever met with. Yea, within the beaded borders of this grand old mansion, the... Wait! What? Rarely if ever met with. What? By whom?
Wait, what?
No, she's saying they have rare trees surrounding the erection of wonder and amazement.
Wait.
And,
So walls surrounding the mansion and wonder...
Within them.
So rarely... So...
Rarely if ever met with.
So...
Semicolon. Yeah.
What?
So she's saying nobody ever sees these trees.
Is she...
They're rare, exotic trees.
I can't tell.
Surrounding the erection of amazement and wonder.
She's so confused about where things are and what they're doing.
No, it's around the walls.
Yeah, within the venerable walls surrounding
The house itself.
Okay, so that's the
trees.
The walls surrounding the house.
It's a tree. Yes.
Okay.
And then the trees surround the house.
Like within the walls of the house are the trees.
Yes.
Surround, like, within the beaded borders of this grand old mansion, the eye of the privileged beholds the magnificent lake.
Yeah. Studded on every side with stone of costliest cut and finish. Is there a costlier cut and finish? I mean, it's stone cutting is stone cutting, isn't it? I mean,
unless they're referring to precious stones, but if
On
that
the
were
walls?
if that were the case, you'd specify, wouldn't you?
yeah.
I don't know.
But then again, the finest gravel. So, I mean, I don't think she knows much about rocks. Okay. The richest vineries, the most elegant ferns, the daintiest conservatories, the flowers and plants of almost every clime in abundance, the most fashionable walks, the most intricate windings that imagination could possibly conceive or genius contrive. In fact, it has well been named the Eden of luxury. Gee, I wonder if they're rich. Just maybe.
You know, someone should have given this person's editor a set of pruning shears. Because this is ridiculous.
Just snipped the whole manuscript in half. This is awful.
I feel like I'm being eaten alive by words that don't mean a thing.
No. Dunfern Mansion was handed down as an heirloom since its purchase by Walter III Earl of Dunfern in 1674, and since then has been tenderly cared for internally and carefully guarded externally by the skillful hands of noted artisans. Side note here, there's a semicolon where there shouldn't be one. This is the most, obscene overuse of semicolons I've ever seen in a book.
I thought that was just an artifact of 19th century literature.
I don't think so. I think this is just so many. Right here, this is, overtly incorrect. Since its purchase in 1674, it should be a comma because it starts with "and since then." That's a dependent clause, so that should be a comma, not a semicolon.
I don't know.
It doesn't...
I see your point. I don't know. I'm still not sure if it's an artifact of, the text or if this is...
I think it's a mistake.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's a mistake. And I know, who's the guy that wrote Infinite Jest? David Foster Wallace.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He taught some English classes for a while. And he said, if I see a student use a semicolon and its usage is not absolutely perfect, chances are pretty good I'm just going to automatically give him a C.
Whoa. That's brutal.
Because people, this pretentious overuse of semicolons is so awful because nobody knows what they're for.
Well, oftentimes you can get away with just either using a comma or a full stop depending on what people are trying to do.
Very rarely is one actually necessary. So anyone knows what they're for. Okay. The present owner is only son of Sir John Dunfern by Irene, adopted daughter of Lord and Lady Dilworth of Dilworth Castle, County Kent. Is only son.
Irene... So the book's called Irene Iddesleigh.
Yeah.
And only now...
do we figure who the hell she is?
Yeah, we're not even sure if this is the Irene. I mean, you could make a safe guess that it is, of course. But, all we know, all we've heard from the Dunferns, who've got no sense of character. All we have is a whole lot of setting which is nigh impenetrable.
Yeah. Also, doesn't it say the entrance to this beautiful home is of Sir Hugh Dunfern, the present owner? So...
home of Sir Dunfern, the present owner, and then...
I guess... Irene is his mom?
The present owner is Hugh Dunfern. The present... Dunfern. The present owner is only son of Sir John Dunfern by Irene. So that's a very clumsy way of saying that Hugh is John's son, I suppose.
I guess that's...
It's a very
was she drunk?
It's a very clumsy way of establishing family.
Yeah.
And then you have the Dilworth, Lord and Lady Dilworth of Dilworth Castle. Like, what relevance do they have?
County Kent.
Their relevance is,
knows.
to the story is... and that's the whole chapter.
That's the whole chapter.
Oh my gosh.
Holy shit. Sympathize with me, indeed.
I'm upset.
Incidentally, the title of this podcast, Holy Moses, Take a Look, was taken from Ms. Ross's body of work as well, because a poem of hers, known as Visiting Westminster Abbey, opens thusly: Holy Moses, take a look! Flesh decayed in every nook. Some rare bits of brain lie here. Mortal loads of beef and beer. Which is not good.
Mortal loads of beef and beer.
Yeah, holy Moses, take a look.
Sounds like your average night out, honestly.
Flesh decayed in every nook. It's a wild night.
You want to take a quick recess before we dive back into chapter 2?
Nah, let's keep going. That was really short. So, chapter 2. The December sun had hidden its dull rays behind the huge rocks that rose monstrously high west of Dunfern Mansion, and ceased to gladden the superb apartments Sir John occupied most of the day. They had withdrawn their faint reflection from within the mirrored walls of this solitary chamber to brighten other homes with their never-dying sheen. As the dull grey evening advanced to such a degree to render the look of brightness imperative to the surroundings of its sole occupant, Sir John requested that his favourite apartment should be made bright as possible by adding more fuel to the smouldering ashes within the glistening bars which guarded their remains. What? What?
Where are we?
Here. But I... So he's the only one that lives? Oh, no. So he's alone in his room. So why would she say sole occupant? That implies that he's the only one in the house. That's... smoldering ash within the glistening bars which guard their... What the fuck? That's so redundant.
I'm having a hard time distinguishing anything, honestly.
Oh, it's incredible. This being done, 3 huge lamps were lighted and placed at respectable distances for each other when Sir John, with his accustomed grace, began to peruse some of his evening papers. Though a man of 40 summers... Holy shit. 40 summers. She couldn't just say he was 40 years old.
Well, she can't say anything. So.
I know. He had never yet had entertained the thought of yielding up his bacheloric ideas to supplace them with others, which eventually should coincide with those of a different sex.
Whoa. Wait.
So, he never thought of getting married, even though he's 40 years old. He's 40 goddamn years old. But wait a minute. Doesn't he have a son with Irene?
Wait. No, check. Present owner is only son of Sir John Yeah.
He has...
So he had a son with an Irene, unless this is a flashback, which I don't think...
Which, like, thanks for telling us, Amanda. Amanda McKittrick Ross. So, like, he never even thought, oh, I should get married. Never once. Not even once. In fact, he never had bestowed a thought on changing his habits and manner of living, nor until fully realizing his position of birthright that had been treasured by his ancestors for such a lengthened period, and which, sooner or later, must pass into strangers' hands, did the thought ever occur to him of entering the League of the Blessed. The League of the Blessed?
I don't know what that means.
I think it means the people who are married and have kids.
This whole thing just reads like an assignment that's due the day. I feel like it's waffly, it's meandering, it's unnecessarily verbose, but not in a way that's easily comprehensible.
It's magnificent. The clock had just chimed 9 when a maid entered with a note, neatly laid on a trim little tray, which she placed on the table close beside her master, and then retired. It was rather unusual for him to receive letters so late in the evening, nor until he was in full possession of its contents he could not form the faintest imagination of its worth.
Finally,
that's a double negative.
This is the one sentence which I understand out of all of this, or at least comprehend easily.
It's not even grammatically correct.
I know, but like they've managed to hold off on unnecessarily complicated words and sentence construction, even if it is a poorly constructed sentence.
It's very poorly constructed. And it's not even like Moby Dick, or the Scarlet Letter.
Moby Dick. Hey, I love a bit of Moby Dick.
Oh, well.
Oh.
What did I say? A narration of amazement and wonder.
That's a real Moby Dick. Ooh,
I'm sorry, I'm horrible.
You are delightful. You are a treasure.
But this isn't like Herman Melville's writing, where it's like most of it is going to send you running to a thesaurus because a great deal of the words are no longer used in common vernacular. No, this is just straight up badly written. And I think that's incredible. Like, I am having a great time.
I mean, I'm encouraged. I mean, I thought I was bad at stringing words together, but here we are.
Bad. Okay. Okay. Not far from Dunfern Mansion.
Wait, did we? Oh yeah, we did.
Yes.
Do that. Okay.
Not far from Dunfern Mansion may be seen situated on the rising hill the beautiful castle of Lord and Lady Dilworth, a prominent building commanding the finest view in the county. Is she now? Like, I know that it's talking about the castle, but it's just like the way that that's constructed makes me think that like Lady Dilworth is a prominent building commanding the finest view in the county.
There's no structural grace to this person's writing, like, because the previous chapter just ends saying, the present owner
is only son.
Yeah,
there's no article there.
It's like the present, like the previous chapter just ends mentioning the Dilworths of County Kent.
Yeah.
County Kent. But we're not introduced, but it's not even like a cliffhanger or a gotcha or a lead-in. It's just
literally nothing. Like,
there's no grace to it. And now, only now, after being told that the Dilworths are a people that exist, we get more exposition. And
kind of. But there's still no exposition. It's setting.
Non-position. We get more setting, in huge concrete quotation marks. And, now we're back to the Dilworths.
Yeah. Okay. So it's still talking about the castle. It had been remodeled by the present owner after inheriting it from his late maternal uncle, Lord Leyburn, and although equipped with all modern improvements and inventions necessary, yet there dwelt a lack of design and beauty about it, possessed by Dunfern Mansion. That's not how you use yet.
This reads more like a historical document than a novel.
A historical document written by, like, a drunk 6-year-old. thesaurus to hand.
Oh, not even. Well, 6-year-olds. 6-year-olds write more cohesive stories than this. I think
a drunken 12-year-old.
12-year-olds write better. Well, I don't know.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
I'm trying to be charitable to children. This is one of the few times I will be.
They've been drinking.
Yeah,
They broke into their mother's liquor cabinet, drank all of the tequila, and then decided to write...
I believe it's pronounced tequila.
No. You're pronounced tequila.
Tequila.
But that's what this reads like. It's just such a load of nonsense.
Tequila.
The bountiful owner of Dilworth Castle differed much in many respects from Sir John Dunfern. He was a nobleman of rare tact and capacities, a keen sportsman, a turf frequenter, an ardent politician, and in fact a lover of everything which served to promote the interests of his extended and varied social circle in particular, and entire community in general.
So basically,
who are we talking about here?
He's basically a frickin' Mary Sue.
Dunworth or... No, sorry, Dunfern or Dilworth?
The bountiful owner of Dilworth.
I know, but differed from John Dunfern. He was... and I'm like, which one? I guess that she's talking about Dilworth, but I mean...
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Lady Dilworth, it may here be mentioned, was never of a very robust nature, and often had she felt the great strain of society press rather heavily on her weak frame, so much so as to render the adoption of the subject of this book indispensable. What?!
I don't know what that means.
Drawing his chair closer to the table on which one of the great lamps stood, Sir John proceeded to peruse the contents of the... We're still on the same paragraph! I thought we were... What is happening? It's confusing as So it's like, she's like, oh, Lady Dilworth is so frail, so beautiful and frail. Meanwhile, John Dunfern is still doing shit. Okay. Reading the contents of the note. It was an invitation from Lord and Lady Dilworth to attend a ball at Dilworth Castle on 22nd proximity?
I have no idea. Approximately. I don't know.
Given by them in honor of the marriage of Henry, 5th Marquis of Hill Hall, with Ethel, Countess of Maidstone.
Oh, God.
Holy shit.
More fucks I don't care about.
Stupid rich English people. Okay. Lord Dilworth and the Marquis were personal friends of Sir John, and to accept this kind and courteous invitation would mean a step towards the summit of the matrimonial ladder, by meeting the majority of the fully fledged belles in and around Canterbury, and especially Irene Iddesleigh, Lord Dilworth's adopted daughter. Yeah, there
finally,
she is.
The titular character of the fucking book.
Yeah.
In the middle of the second chapter.
Sympathize with me indeed. More generally known as the Southern Beauty. Oh, and she's gorgeous. Of course she is. He slept over the matter that night, with the result that next morning he wrote accepting the kind invitation, more through curiosity than desire. What? That was some clumsy writing. Although he led a quiet and retired life, generally speaking, still he did not absent himself totally from a few social meetings occasionally. And if imagination painted his future in the manner so artfully designed by Lady Dilworth, no doubt this visit to Dilworth Castle might convert it into reality. Arriving at the elegant castle, with its tower of modern frame and spires of Gothic structure, Sir John was met in its great hall by the genial hostess, who conducted him to the brilliant reception room superbly laid out for the comfort of its guests, and being the first to arrive, was thus afforded a good opportunity of inspecting the many valuable relics and works of art that adorned its huge and velvety walls. Are they crystal or are they velvet? Velvety crystal.
No clue.
They're so rich. Sorry. Dunfern has crystal walls. Dilworth has velvet walls. That's it. That's how you know where you are. Are the walls crystal or are they velvety?
Why would... Like, in what sense are they velvety?
They have carpet on the walls.
No, but like...
Wear, like, Velcro on your shoes. Get more floor space.
That'd be funny.
That would be awesome. Be like that house in Gravity Falls that's upside down. On the center wall, right opposite where he sat, hung a painted portrait, life-size, of an admirable production of the well-known artist Peto. Peto. P-E-T-O. Peto. That's really unfortunate, considering this is an English book.
I got nothing.
And not knowing where such an original of perfection and beauty could be found, he resolved to inquire when opportunity offered whose portrait it might be. Okay. Okay. At this stage, the numerous guests began to assemble, including the majority of the leading gentry in and around Canterbury, as it was looked upon as the chief social event of the season. Mothers were most fidgety that their daughters should don the costliest gowns and brilliants, as rumour had it that the noblest heir to Dunfern estate should honour the assembly with his august presence. He's 40 years old. This old ass ain't marrying nobody. What the... I mean, obviously he's gonna get with Irene Iddesleigh, but I mean, he's 40. Is that normal? Was that normal back in the day?
Not a clue.
Be like, oh, okay, 19-year-old daughter of mine. See that crusty old dude? He's rich as shit. He's got walls made out of crystal and rare trees that no one has ever seen. He uses the finest gravel! None of that bullshit peasant gravel!
Finest gravel in all of England.
Yeah. Okay. Report gained ground that Sir John, having quietly crept out of boyhood for a lengthened period, would end his days hardest...
What lengthened period?
About 22 years. She's saying he's old.
Crept out of boyhood.
She's
Quietly crept out of boyhood.
He's old as balls. You only need 4 words for that!
But, like...
Okay.
Some very...
Oh my god, okay. Would end his days harnessed singly, but idle gossip flying at all times kite high soon gave place in the wavering minds of society belles to that of more serious consideration and welcome expectancy.
Don't know what that means.
They're saying everyone was expecting him to remain a confirmed bachelor, but people gossip, and so they're like, who knows? Holding out hope.
They could have... Why can't she just write that?
I don't know. There's a whole paragraph?
I'm upset.
Don't be sad.
I am distraught.
Don't be sad.
I'm so
It's okay.
I'm very...
Don't let this book break your heart.
Well, too late.
Oh.
I'm dying inside.
Oh no. On being introduced to all those outside his present circle of acquaintance on this evening, and viewing the dazzling glow of splendor which shone through spectacles of wonder in all its glory, Sir John felt his past life but a dismal dream, brightened here and there with a crystal speck of sunshine that had partly hidden its gladdening rays of bright futurity. There's that word again that isn't a word, until compelled to glitter with the daring effect that he soon should practice. But there awaited his view another beam of life's bright rays, who on entering last of all commanded the minute attention of everyone present. This was the beautiful Irene Iddesleigh. Oh boy! Mary Sue alarms going off in my head.
More like Mary Pooh. Oh, that's what I think about her. Oh.
We don't even know anything about her except, oh, she's so pretty! Whoa! The book's named after her. We know nothing about her.
And we're nearly at the end of chapter 2.
I know. How the look of jealousy combined with sarcasm substituted those of love and bashfulness. How the titter of tainted mockery rang throughout the entire apartment and could hardly fail to catch the ear of her whose queenly appearance occasioned it. Okay. Queenly appearance.
Queenly.
These looks and taunts serving to convince Sir John of nature's fragile cloak, which covers too often the image of indignation and false show, and seals within the breasts of honor and equality resolutions of an iron mold. Wait. What?
Yeah, I'm lost.
Convince him of what?
You got me.
I don't know. Of nature's fragile... That doesn't mean anything. On being introduced to Irene, Sir John concluded instantly, without instituting further inquiry, that this must be the original of the portrait so warmly admired by him. There she stood, an image of perfection and divine beauty, attired in a robe of richest snowy tint, relieved here and there by a few tiny sprigs of the most dainty maidenhair fern, without any ornamentation whatsoever, save a diamond necklet of famous sparkling luster and priceless value. My name is Ebony Darkness Dementia Raven Way. I have ice blue eyes, black hair, raven black hair. That's what this is like. Also, why is her last name Iddesleigh if she's the adopted daughter of Dilworth?
Not a clue.
Why isn't she Irene Dilworth?
Because it's not a pretty name.
Neither is Iddesleigh.
She needs to be pretty all the time.
I suppose so.
Well, the book seems to think so.
Also, without any ornamentation whatsoever, except for that bitchin' diamond necklace. Which is priceless and famous.
But no.
Holy shit.
But no.
But no, she's totally plain, you guys. Natural beauty.
Without any ornaments whatsoever.
Except for that one. As the evening rolled into the small hours of the morning... Oh, also, I'd like to notice, there's no dialogue yet. Saying, oh yeah, they talked and they met and he thinks she's gorgeous, and it's like...
It's like a recount.
There's no words.
It's like the world's shittiest newspaper report.
Yeah. It's like Fox News.
Whoa.
As the evening rolled into the small hours of the morning, the numerous guests began to repair to their respective homes. Wouldn't that be retire? None of the weaker sex...
Repair is
correct? Okay. None of the weaker sex having had the slightest advancement in the direction of their coveted intentions, save Irene, who was fortunate in securing the attentions of Sir John Dunfern during the happy hours that fled so quickly.
I don't...
Wow.
That is indicative.
That's bad. Immediately before taking his departure, he pressed firmly her snowy hand and left the pretty gilded area which surrounded his first hopes of matrimony to enter what he was beginning to believe the weary apartments of Dunfern Mansion that previously held him bound to them in hermit-like fashion.
And that's the end.
That's the end of chapter 2. Oh my god, though. Her snowy hand!
Let's take a recess here. So, first couple of chapters. What has actually happened?
Literally nothing. Except let's describe a house forever.
Yeah, but like, what is the house?
It's bitchin' as shit is what it is. It's for rich people.
Okay.
It's this rad-ass house.
What even
with the
was...
finest gravel.
So, what even was this event that the two...
What were these written for?
Yeah.
What was accomplished? So I guess it's saying, oh, look at our current owner, who's the son of these two people, and now let's recount in present... No, that wasn't past tense, wasn't it? Now let's recount how these two met. But it feels like a badly written flashback. You know? Like a flashback sequence, like in a movie. Because there's no segue whatsoever. Like, there's no transition to say, okay, here's what happened already, and that's how this occurred. That's how I met your mother, kids. You know, there's none of that. All we see is, you know, Irene going, don't sympathize with me!
I'm seeing an author that's just like, and then they did this, and then they did that.
Oh, wait, but first they did this.
Yeah.
But she didn't say but first. Like, she just, like, this is so out of order and bizarre. And it's not even that it's, like, non-linear storytelling, because it's not graceful enough for that. It's just, like, let's just say everything out of order, because our brains are scrambled eggs. That works. Also, our protagonist, who we've heard no words from yet, is beautiful like a snow woman. The beautifulest ever.
With snowy hands.
Snowy hands.
I mean...
The diamond necklace.
The way it ends is slightly better. At least we have... At least something has happened and we've come to the end of an event. As opposed to the end of the first chapter, which was just...
explaining a thing.
Well, it felt like an itinerary of of things. It felt like doing an inventory of the fucking Dunfern Mansion. Like, what's in the Dunfern Mansion? What does it look like?
Rare trees that no one has seen.
It felt like a checklist. And
Crystal walls.
And then, it felt like someone ticking off a checklist of unnecessarily verbose stuff. And then the bottom item on the list was just Dilworth. Chapter 2. Sunday lunch continues.
Dilworth sounds like some kind of horrible insult, doesn't it? I mean, it sounds like dillweed or something, like some kind of juvenile insult from the 80s and early 90s that, like, skaters would call each other.
It just sounds like a Dilbert knockoff, honestly.
Dilworth. It does a bit.
Like the British equivalent or something.
Mm-hmm. Dunfern, honestly, is almost as bad. Dunfern. It's Dunfern and Dilworth are just the most unflattering names on earth.
Sounds like brown plants.
It does.
Dunfern, that's what it makes me think.
The brownest plants. Only the brownest plants. For the snowiest hands. And Iddesleigh. That's not even a name.
It's a metaphor. It's satire. We can say that.
Hate crime, yum yum. Hate
crime, yum yum.
Yeah. Anytime something is bad, just go, just kidding, and you get a free pass to call it satire. That's that's the rule.
Who's the author again?
Oh shit, I don't remember. Amanda McKittrick Ross.
No, she'd be having a field day, like, in this day and age. There's any number of excuses that people have manufactured for their own, shitty work or behaviour.
Also, I mean, I can talk all we want about the names of her characters, but I mean, no wonder her characters have horrible names. Her name is Amanda McKittrick Ross.
Yeah, so I suppose the names that she conjured up for her characters don't seem that unusual to her.
Yeah. Also, I love how she talks about how beautiful Irene is and then doesn't describe her.
And doesn't give her any dialogue. Hasn't given anyone any dialogue for that matter.
I have no idea what she looks like. She could look like a particularly attractive trout, and we could have no idea.
Yeah. All I know about her is that she is very white, which isn't helpful.
She could look like a cream cake.
She could be as white as a sheet. And he
also makes false teeth. Those of you who didn't get that reference, go listen to Frontier Psychiatry by the Avalanches. It's great.
They don't need to know that.
Oh, I mean, it helps.
Well,
everyone should listen to Frontier Psychiatry. It's good.
Well,
it's a good.
It is a good.
Yeah. Not this. This is not a good. I'm going to imagine her, until she actually describes Irene, I'm going to imagine her as a particularly well-decorated cream cake. Like a cupcake with the frosting inside.
On legs?
No, with hands.
Just with hands?
Just with hands. So she's just this beautiful little cupcake.
Crawling about
on her hands, like some kind of horror movie.
On snowy white.
Snowy hands.
Snowy white human.
They're made out of fondant.
Ooh.
Not the good fondant, like the nasty kind that tastes like chalk.
Oh, that's creepy.
Well, it's better looking. It's smooth, and it's dry.
I don't want it in my mouth, though.
Well, good. You can't have it, because John Dunfern has her spoken for. Ooh. He's gonna fuck that cupcake. And you can't stop him.
Don't fuck the cake.
You can't tell him to not fuck. He's gonna stick his dick right in the cake. There's nothing we can do to stop the madness.
See, already we've made this book like 10 times better.
I know! I would rather read a book about people who fuck cakes than this.
And yet here we
At
are.
least that would be interesting.
And yet here we are. This is the reality we have manufactured as for
About
ourselves.
people with names like brown plants and the finest gravel.
Brown plants and dildo. A dildo mansion.
This erection of amazement and wonder.
Oh yeah.
Fucking can't believe.
We should make that the logo.
I know.
Yes. Holy Nook. Let's take a look. What is it?
No, it's Holy Moses. Take a look.
Okay.
Flesh decayed in every nook.
We need like an erection? We need an erection. An amazing erection.
An amazing erection of
Just have
an
that.
erection of amazement and wonder. Like it's some kind of sideshow attraction.
Amazement and blunder.
Oh, damn!
Because we're talking about this lovely woman's work.
Mm-hmm. Now she writes books about people who fuck cupcakes.
Whoa.
Who are painted by pedo.
She's created a
That's what he says!
It's like Hogwarts.
But infinitely worse.
She's created this magical world full of things we don't understand.
This is so bad. You guys, this is so bad.
She's the J.K. Rowling of our time.
No.
Of
What? What?
Of the 19th century. I got a bit ahead of myself in that sentence.
And it's just like, I mean, she's talking about, oh, everyone thought she was so beautiful. I'm just like, we don't know that.
It's like, why is she beautiful?
Like, is she just a shimmering ray of light with a single hand? No, she's a cupcake, of course. She's with fondant hands.
Mm.
She's literally just a dessert who climbs out on her horrifying homunculus arms.
Homunculus.
Yes. Molded through the use of dark magic and blood sacrifice.
See, clearly that's what...
Obviously, there's no other possibility.
No,
There are no other options.
I refuse to believe there are any other possibilities.
And her son is adopted.
Mm.
Dude fucked a cupcake. You can't... You can't go any further down than that. A demon cupcake.
Shall we wrap up here?
Yeah, I think that's enough. 2 chapters is good for this first episode.
So we've presented to you the first 2 chapters of Irene Iddesleigh.
Iddesleigh.
By Mrs. Amanda McKittrick Ross.
Yeah.
Tune in next time whenever we decide to do this.
I'm doing this weekly.
Okay.
Yeah.
For the subsequent chapters.
Yeah. So I'll probably be doing 2 chapters a week. Because I'm looking at the table of contents, they're pretty short. And it'll be a nice way to end this in an expedient fashion. And after this, of course, I'm going to be reading The Eye of Argon by Jim Teas. I always forget his last name. Eye of Argon by Jim Teas, which is far more notorious, I think, in a modern age for being horrible. But that is much shorter, so we're going to be doing Irene Iddesleigh.
But that's getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
That's a fair ways into the future.
Anyway, hope you enjoyed the podcast. Holy Moses, take a look. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, do whatever it is that you good children do on SoundCloud. Share with your friends. Show the Pope. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.